This is Stay Smart, Stay Ahead Property Podcast, where we cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters in property and investment.
Welcome back to Stay Smart, Stay Ahead Property Talk. I'm your host, Gianni Salvatore, and it's good to be back for this episode. I have a very special episode in mind today, something a little bit different than what we've covered in the past. Today, we're going to be talking about industrial investment, specifically industrial property. I've got an expert along here today with me, Adrian Petroulis from Charles Lee Property Group. Welcome to the show, Adrian.
Thank you, Gianni. Very excited to be here.
It's great to have you here, the Director of Acquisitions at Charles Lee Property Group. You've seen a lot, you've been through many markets, but today we're on a different trend, and it's the industrial development. We're here at Connect Narre Warren, your latest project, where construction is well underway, and a lot of Australians understand residential property investing, but industrial property is still relatively unfamiliar. Tell me, why should a residential investor consider a project like this?
Well, I think investors need to look beyond what they're familiar with and actually compare fundamentals before making a decision. Here at Connect Narre Warren, we're delivering 10 brand new street-facing industrial warehouses in an established industrial precinct. They've been designed to appeal to both owner-occupiers and investors, and we think they present a really interesting alternative to a traditional residential investment. If you're buying a residential property, for example, you're generally looking at a 12-month lease. With industrial property, though, 3 to 5 year leases are common, and sometimes they're even longer. That can give an investor much greater certainty around their rental income.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, 3 to 5 years. Now, can I just ask quickly, with the 3 to 5 years, is there built-in increases to those leases? Because with the residential, at 12-month lease, you can then renew and increase. But how does commercial work with the increases?
Yeah, they're typically built into the lease at the start. You negotiate that before you sign the initial lease, and that's something that your agent can assist with.
Okay, that's great. And what about the ongoing costs compared with residential property?
Well, with a residential property, the owner generally pays the council rates, land tax, insurance, and all the other property expenses. But with commercial and industrial property, leases are commonly structured so the tenant will pay the contributions to those outgoings. So with an industrial investment like Connect Narre Warren, you can potentially have a longer lease while also having the tenant cover the costs that you'd normally be paying yourself on a residential investment.
That would be a huge saving. Your tenant's paying the costs. Wow. And that brings me to another point. Another benefit for buyers here, there's no stamp duty. Is that right?
That's correct. There's no stamp duty payable when purchasing these brand new industrial properties at Connect Narre Warren, which can represent a significant upfront saving to the purchaser. Stamp duty on a residential property can be a substantial additional cost. Here, that's money that stays in the purchaser's pocket rather than becoming another acquisition cost.
That's incredible. Guys, if you're listening, on an $800,000 residential property, it might cost you anywhere between $50,000, $60,000 in stamp duty. But here, industrial, $0. That is a big saving. Now, Adrian, another conversation that's very important because Australia, we are an aging population. What about the people who have money in super? Can they purchase industrial property?
Absolutely. And that's something a lot of investors don't realise. Subject to the relevant superannuation and lending rules, a self-managed super fund can purchase commercial or industrial property and can also borrow to fund that purchase through the appropriate self-managed super fund lending structure. So for a self-managed super fund investor looking at one of the warehouses here at Connect Narre Warren, you don't necessarily need to have the full purchase price sitting in your super to consider an investment.
Okay, so we can borrow in our SMSF, and then I'm assuming you're going to tell me the other good news that there is tax benefits as well?
There is, Gianni. Depending on the structure and individual circumstances, investors may also benefit from things like negative gearings and capital gains tax concessions. If you're purchasing through a self-managed super fund, you've also got the tax environment that applies within super.
Okay, that's great. Let's take a step back. So you're telling me we can get 3 to 5 year leases and in some instances even higher. The tenant can pay the outgoings. We can have built-in annual increases. We can borrow in our self-managed super fund and there's tax benefits like negative gearing and tax concessions.
Correct.
That's unbelievable. Now, when you put all that together, how does that compare with residential?
And this is where I think investors need to broaden their thinking. If you're in Sydney and you're looking at a median house price of around 1.7 million, or you're in Queensland or another major market where you're potentially spending well over $1 million on a residential property, ask yourself, what else can the same capital buy? Here at Connect Narre Warren, you're buying a brand new industrial warehouse with approximately 9 metre high warehouse clearance, office space, dedicated car parking, kitchen and bathroom amenities. You've also got 3-phase power and secured gated access. Then consider the investment fundamentals. Potentially a 3 to 5 year lease instead of 12 months. The tenant pays many of the property outgoings. You've got the ability to purchase in your self-managed super fund and borrow. You've got tax advantages and no stamp duty payable on these properties.
And we're here today in construction. It's definitely well underway.
Exactly. The panels are up and the project is really starting to take shape. We're delivering just 10 warehouses at Connect Narre Warren, located at 21 to 25 Vesper Drive, with a completion targeted for early 2027. For residential investors looking to diversify, self-managed super fund investors, owner-occupiers, or existing commercial property investors, we think Connect Narre Warren presents a very compelling opportunity.
I agree. Compelling it is for sure. I know where I'm signing up. Adrian, thank you for coming in today and giving us the quick rundown on industrial versus residential. I know where I'm signing up. Thank you again for coming in.
No worries, Johnny. Thanks for having me.
To all our listeners, thanks again. Stay smart, stay ahead. Property Talk. We'll see you soon on our next episode.